All right, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to Engineering Major, Philosophy Minor. So if you guys are watching this video, by the time you watch this, I will have switched the channel up quite a bit. There's nothing on the background of the screen right now because I just wanted this to be a one-on-one chat. And the videos are going to kind of be like this going forward. And of course, the reason for this, well, let me just slow down really quick. So all my other videos I have made private, and I will make them public again at a time when I don't feel like there's so many tensions going on. And of course, as you guys know, there has been a lot of effort put forth to take down. I'm not even really sure what I can actually say about this without getting in trouble, and that's part of the problem that bothers me so much is that the what do you call it, the standards or the limitations on what you can and can't say right now are just seem to be very arbitrary. There are other aspects of my life outside of this YouTube channel that I kind of need to try and protect. And I know it might sound kind of silly, but I do feel like some of them it might be a risk for me to be making some of the videos that I've been making, which I don't think that I've said anything extremely controversial. I think I've tried to be as even-handed as possible, and I've been opinionated at times, but not kind of obviously not advocating for violence, not advocating for racism or bigotry or any of that stuff. Just kind of trying to give you guys some kind of an engineer's perspective on what's going on. But anyway, I'm not really too sure what I can say. And so going forward, the way this channel is going to work, I don't want to just do nothing. I still want to be able to talk about stuff. But the way the channel is going to work going forward is I'm simply just going to read you guys stuff that I am in the process of reading or have read recently that I think is very applicable to things that are going on. And, the thing that I really love about you guys, about the audience, is I know that you guys are smart. I know that you guys can listen to this and make sense of it and, apply it or think about it from the perspective of current events without me having to actually divulge any like hard opinions that might be contrary to what everyone, well, not everyone, but that might be contrary to what some people want to hear, and that might put other aspects of my life just at odds with some of the things that I say. So that's how it's going to go forward. I'm going to read in a minute a few pages from the Gulag Archipelago. I think that I might have read some of this before, but obviously that video is going to be private. And before I get into that, I just want to make one remark on the events that happened last week, I guess it was. And I just want to make it clear that, violence is not okay, guys. I think that we all know this. I think that if you're watching this video, you understand that and you agree. But, it's unfortunately now that it has happened, it's important for us on the conservative side to come out and really present what our position actually is. And, my position is that, demonstrating outside in a peaceful manner, that's all good. Walking around with your flags, that's fine. Saying things that are not incitements of violence directly, aka calling for somebody to commit a specific crime or calling for specific violence against a person is not okay at all. But if you're just walking around and, in my opinion, you can believe whatever conspiracy theory you want, doesn't matter what side it's on, that's all good. But the second that windows start getting broken, people start getting hurt, that's where I draw the line. I don't think that's appropriate, and I just want to make it clear to you guys that I don't support any of that. But that being said, no matter what the cause is, people who are out there trying to do, peaceful action, that's something that I advocate for. and let's say, non-directly violent speech or crime-specific speech, I think is an example of that, that kind of non-violent protest that I advocate for. Of course, now we're seeing that in one way or another, certain speech is not going to be allowed, whether or not it's directly outlawed or whether or not it affects your ability to get a job or maintain a job or, just kind of be a member of polite society or get ridiculed or ostracized by other people. It seems like that might be kind of an issue. And that's kind of why I'm switching up the videos. So last thing I'll say on this is, for those of you guys who actually broke into the Capitol building, I think the important thing to mention here is you guys had, Republican senators and congresspeople who were putting themselves on the line to espouse the message that you wanted, Now, I know that not every single person who went into the building had violent intent. Unfortunately, for those people who didn't have violent intent, you put yourself in an unlawful situation. You're going to have to suffer the consequences for it. I watched an interview with a guy who seemed pretty down to earth about this whole thing, at least in retrospect. And he said, I made a decision. I'm going to be judged by God. And, I get that. But that's not the decision that I would advocate for. But, I respect people who take accountability, take responsibility for what was done. So anyway, just wanted to get that out there that I don't support any kind of violence. I condemn all the violence. I denounce all the violence. But at the same time, I do need to recognize those people who, did not have that intent, did not want it to go that way, did not expect it to go that way. I surely don't think that those people should be punished severely. And I think that we should avoid this kind of guilt by association thing that seems to be going on right now. Anyway, that said, I'm making the decision to make all the other videos private kind of as a result of that, as a result of what's going on. So now that I've gotten through that, let me just go ahead and read from you guys part of the Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. What I'll do is I'll put images of the text up at the very end of the video, so if you guys want to go back and reread and understand, you guys can do that. But for now, just listen, because this section is, I think, really interesting. So he's talking about the various sections in what's known as Article 58, which is the Soviet Criminal Code. So here we go. Section 8 covered terror. Not that terror from above, which the Soviet Criminal Code was supposed to provide a foundation and basis in legality, but terrorism from below. Terror was construed in a very broad sense, not simply a matter of putting bombs under governors' carriages, but, for example, smashing in the face of a personal enemy if he was an activist in the party, the Komsomol, or the police. That was already terror. The murder of an activist, especially, was always treated more seriously than the murder of an ordinary person, as in the Code of Hammurabi in the 18th century BC. If a husband killed his wife's lover, it was very fortunate for him if the victim turned out not to be a party member. He would be sentenced under Article 136 as a common criminal, who was a social ally and didn't require an armed escort. But if the lover turned out to have been a party member, the husband became an enemy of the people with a 58 Section 8 sentence. An even more important extension of the concept was attained by interpreting Section 8 in terms of that same Article 19, i.e. intent in the sense of preparation, to include not only a direct threat against an activist uttered near a beer hall, just you wait, but also the quick-tempered retort of a peasant woman at the market. For example, oh no, drop dead. Both qualified as terrorist intent and provided a basis for applying the article in all its severity. Skipping ahead a little bit, Section 10. Its definition was, quote, propaganda or agitation containing an appeal for the overthrow, subverting, or weakening of the Soviet power, and equally the dissemination or preparation or possession of literary materials of similar content, end quote. For this section, in peacetime, a minimum penalty only was set, not any less, not too light. No upper limit was set for the maximum penalty. Such was the fearlessness of the great power when confronted by the word of a subject. The famous extensions of this famous section were as follows. The scope of agitation containing an appeal was enlarged to include a face-to-face conversation between friends, or even between husband and wife, or a private letter. The word appeal could mean personal advice, and we say could mean because in fact it did. Subverting and weakening the government could include any idea which did not coincide with or rise to the level of intensity of the ideas expressed in the newspaper on any particular day. After all, anything which does not strengthen must weaken. Indeed, anything which does not completely fit in, coincide, subverts. And then there's a little quote here. And he who sings not with us today is against us, from Mayakovsky. The term preparation of literary materials covered every letter, note, or private diary, even when only the original document existed. Thus happily expanded, what thought was there, whether merely in the mind, spoken aloud, or jotted down, which was not covered by Section 10. Section 11 was a special one. It had no independent content of its own, but provided for an aggravating factor in any of the preceding ones. If the action was undertaken by an organization or if the criminal joined an organization. In actual practice, the section was so broadened that no organization whatever was required. I myself experienced the subtle application of this section. 2 of us had secretly exchanged thoughts. In other words, we were the beginnings of an organization. In other words, an organization. Section 12 concerned itself closely with the conscience of our citizens. It dealt with the failure to make a denunciation of any action of the types listed, and the penalty for the mortal sin of failure to make a denunciation carried no maximum limit. This section was in itself such a fantastic extension of everything else that no further extension was needed. He knew and he did not tell became the equivalent of he did it himself. Alright guys, so that's all I'm going to read for right now. I have gone through this book and highlighted, that this is only page 67, so I've gone through this book and I've highlighted a lot of stuff. And, as I go through this, I will read more to you guys, and I'm also reading a couple other books at the moment that I would like to share with you guys. So, just to close this one out, guys, violence is bad. Do not commit violence. I'm sorry to say that the channel is changing around a little bit, but I think that you guys will find some of these words that I read to be pretty insightful and pretty interesting, and I will let you guys think for yourself and create your own opinions. And I do have a Locals account. I might start putting up subscriber content on Locals where I do actually discuss my opinions on the text and how I think they relate to current events. But for now, I kind of want to be a little bit more cautious. So you guys are, definitely smart people who are watching this. And when you guys listen to this, you guys can ruminate and think about all these things. And leave a comment below if you have an opinion. I will not. I probably won't be responding to many comments, or if I do, I'm going to try to be very, very neutral. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next one, and it'll be a little bit shorter because I'll just get straight into the reading in the next one. So have a good night, guys.